Konnichiwa, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Narita International Airport. Local time is 2 p.m. and the temperature is 26 degrees Celsius. Please enjoy your vacation in Japan.
Japan is an island country located at east coast of Asia. This country has 4 seasons which attract people to visit the country, as it also known as Land of Rising Sun. With populations of 126 million inhabitants, it takes Japan as the 3rd largest country around the world. As one of country with rich of uniqueness of nature, Japan's success to be one of the most developed country in 2023. Many countries take Japan as example in their working culture and apply it to their company. Japanese people tend to be hardworking when they perform their duties. So, let's get to know about Japan's culture.
Konnichiwa, we are from Group 3 and we will present to you about Japan. So, in this presentation, we will explain to you the negotiation process, bargaining behaviors, decision making, communication styles, and also the conflict management of the Japanese culture.
To expand your business in this East Coast Asia country, you have to learn about their culture and face negotiation process with them. So, NURFAHYUNI IZZYANI will explain in details on how to negotiate with Japanese. To negotiate with Japanese, you must consider 4 keys, which is relationship building, hierarchy and respect, indirect communication, and win-win solution.
The Japanese negotiation is unique and influenced by their rich cultural heritage. Japanese place a high value on building relationship and establishing trust before any business is conducted. So, this process will involve them to get to know your counterparts, showing a genuine interest in their company and social links outside work. It is important to understand the cultural differences and unique approach to negotiate with Japanese in order to establish a successful business partnership. First key to negotiate with Japanese is you must build a relationship. Building a relationship with your business partner is necessary and essential to Japanese business culture. The Japanese believe that business is built on trust and relationship. So it is very important to establish a good rapport before discussing any business with them. So they can have a meeting, socialize outside of work, and get to know each other in the company. Basically, Japanese business practices reflected by relationship. As example, gift-giving is common thing in Japanese business culture at the beginning of a new business relationship. These gifts are not meant to be bribes, but it is as a sign of goodwill and respect to their partners. Second, hierarchy and respect. Japanese culture has a deeply ingrained respect for authority and seniority. It needs you to show respect to your counterparts, particularly if they are in higher position than you. Indeed, you have to use appropriate titles, addressing people with the appropriate honorifics, and bowing as a sign of respect. Hierarchy is important in Japan's decision-making process, as the highest ranking person will have the final say. Third is indirect communication. The Japanese are known with their indirect communications. They often communicate through non-verbal clues and subtle hints. For Westerners, it will be challenging for them to navigate as they have to pay attention to their body language, context, and read between the lines in conversations. In Japanese negotiation process, they often use signing as a sign of agreement or disagreement than explicitly saying yes or no. Hence, indirect language in this culture to expect disagreement or reject a proposal as they value harmony and avoid conflict among their partners. Next key to negotiate with Japan is win-win solutions. For Japanese, negotiation is to find a win-win solution where the both parties get the benefits. They will prioritize to find solution where everyone can work on it than pushing for their own interests. In this process, we can see that compromise is important in Japanese negotiation. As the positive impacts, it can lead to more positive and productive negotiation in the long run.
Let's move to the bargaining behaviors in Japan. Bargaining behaviors in Japan, especially in business and negotiation contexts, are influenced by culture norms and values. For the next video, I will explain more some of the key aspects of bargaining behaviors in Japan, such as gift-giving and relationship building. Hi everyone, I'm AINA. Today I will explaining to you all about bargaining behavior. The first point is gift giving. The exchange of gift, known as omiyage, is common in Japanese culture. If you receive a gift, it is customary to reciprocate with a gift of similar value. Gifts are a way to show respect, and for example, as a gesture of goodwill, you bring a gift from your home country as a token of appreciation for their hospitality during the negotiation process. They reciprocate with a gift from their company. So next, for the building relationship, building a strong and trusting relationship is essential in Japanese negotiation. For example, before the negotiation, you engage in several meetings and social gathering with the executive at companies. You take the time to understand their business culture and build personal relationship with key decision makers. So that's all for the beginning behavior. I will pass to the next presenter.
Hi, my name is ATHIRAH IZZATY binti HAZLIN SHAH. Today I'm gonna explain to you about decision-making process in Japanese management. So, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Decision-making in management is the process of making a choice between two or more options. This involves evaluating the pros and cons of various choices, and it's choosing the best option to achieve a desired outcome. In management, decision-making is about acting in a way that meets organizational goals and objectives.
So, what is the definition of the decision-making process? Well, in business context, decision-making process is a set of steps that taken by the manager in the organization to determine or to find out the planned path for business initiative and to set a specific action in motion. So, Japanese have a little bit different way from American styles in making a decision process, which is you can see the first here is a collectivism. Well, all the Japanese management love to involve all the employees when they have to making a decision process, so they can get a lot of different ideas from them before making an announcement. Well, not for the American, because American styles, they have one individual that can have authority to make a decision. The second is long-term effectiveness, which you can see Japanese love to get more careful and take a long time to making a right decision and the most strategic decision. This is because they want to avoid any risk, any conflict that can happen in their business in the future. Well, for the American style, they love to spend most of their time assessing quality and efficiency at the decision. So they want to make a quick decision by having a fewer information, and maybe it's not the best strategy, but they can make it quick.
more than Japanese management. Third is process orientation, which you can see here. Japanese management style love to focusing on the problem, to understand the problem, to solve the problem, and defining the question. It is because they want to avoid any risk that can impact their decision making and give a bad image to the business. Do you know, if Japanese management making a wrong decision, it can affect their future business? It is because Japanese is serious in making a decision. However, US style is a little bit different because they love to go to the end of the result, because they do not take seriously about the process. They just want to cut it out and go to their decision quickly. And last is risk-averse orientation, which you can see Japanese take a seriously on decision-making process because they want to avoid any risk that can impact their business. It will give a very bad image for the business if they make a wrong decision. It is because Japanese management love to have a long term of success in their future business. Well, in Japanese, the risk means something that dangerous that will lead to a negative outcome. That's why it's a natural for a Japanese people to avoid any risk in their life. Same as a business. But in American style, it's called creativity. It is because they love to make a decision quickly, so they do not care about the risk. They're willingly to take a risk for the decision. If they made a wrong decision, they can start it again and make the best decision for their company. Today, I would like to explain to you all about ringgit system, which all of you must know. Ringgit system has been used by the Japanese management for a long time. Ring means the act of submitting a proposal to the supervisor, while D stands for the decision. Ringgit system is a circulating proposal document and it has to go through 4 stages, which you can see down there. The first stage is proposal, circulation, approval, and the last is report. Usually it starts with the lower management because they may propose a lot of new different ideas. It is because they're more close to the issue and have a lot of information. Also, they can get an opportunity to show off their skills to their supervisor. Well, the ringgit system process may have taken a lot of time because Japanese management wanted to be more careful and take a few risks. But the outcome of this process will be of great benefit to the Japanese management. So, let's move on to the namawashi system. Nemawashi system is more like a gardening technique. In terms of a Japanese word, nemawashi means to dig or to work around the roots. It's same like ringgit system. Nemawashi system is the first step in the decision-making process. But nemawashi system use an informal meeting with one individual to gather information to give any idea that can impact the decision in order to involve all the employees in the making decision process. Well, the benefit of using nemawashi system is Japanese management can reduce any conflict that can happen in the organization. Employees can improve their skills performance and developing their leadership skills and teamwork skills. So for the both systems, they have a pro and the cons for the Japanese management. Well, the consequence is maybe the system is not good to make a quick decision process, but for the pro is Japanese management will use it for a long time with anyone because they want to be in a long-term successful in their future business. That's all.
We will now move on to the next point, that is communication style of Japanese culture. Communication styles in Japan are influenced by culture norms and tradition. Understanding and respecting this style is important when interacting with Japanese individuals or conducting business in Japan. Here are some key aspects of communication style in Japan. The first one is politeness and respect, indirect communication, non-verbal communication, and the last one is silence.
Hello again everyone, I'm FAQIHA AINA, but this time I will explaining about communication styles. So we have 4 Japanese communication styles, which is the first one is politeness and respect, the second one is indirect communication, third is non-verbal communication, and the last one is silence. So let's move to the next slide. Politeness and respect are vital in Japanese communication. Ingrained in the culture, the language uses honorifics, keigo, with prefix and expression to convey respect, especially in formal and business setting. Commonly, honorific titles and surnames like Tanaka-san are used when addressing someone unless it's very familiar. For the bowing is a common sign of a respect in Japan with depth and duration. For the indirect communication, Japanese communication often involves subtle and indirect expression, especially when conveying negative or sensitive information. People may avoid direct refusal or criticism to maintain the harmony. Instead of saying no outright, someone might respond with praise like "I think about it" or "It's a little difficult." These response are signals of relationships. So we move to the next slide, which is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal cues are integral to Japanese communication. Facial expression, body language, and gesture often convey emotion and intention. Maintaining eye contact can be different from the Western culture. Prolonged or intense eye contact might be seen as impolite or confrontational. Instead, softer and less direct eye contact is preferred. Nods and subtle gestures are used to convey agreement or understanding. For example, a slightly nod can signify that you are listening. Silence in Japanese communication is often interpreted differently from many Western cultures. It can have a various meaning. Silence can be a sign of respect, especially when an elder or someone in authority is speaking. Silence also can indicate the agreement or consensus in group discussion. A period of silence may signify that everyone is in agreement, and further discussion may not be necessary. So that's all from me for the part communication in Japan. So I will pass to the next presenter.
We move on to our next point, that is conflict management of the Japanese culture. The Japanese people prefer to avoid confrontation. So, it is important to avoid making any personal attacks or accusation when conversing with a Japanese person. Usually, they tend to prefer avoiding conflict, maintaining harmony, and saving face. The Japanese culture commonly solves conflicts by avoidance, accommodation, indirection, and consensus. Hello, I am Siti Fatimah, and I am going to explain a bit more about conflict management of the Japanese people. For the first point, that is the avoidance, we see this because Japanese people is very concerned about saving face of themselves and of others. So, they would tend to avoid conflicts in order to not embarrass themselves in public places. As for the next point, that is accommodation, this means that the Japanese people are willing to compromise with others in a conflicted situation. They are willing to give up something in order to find solution that everyone can live with. As for indirection, this means that the Japanese people tend to avoid having a direct conversation about a conflict. They prefer to hint at the concerns and complaints because their culture really value politeness and also harmony. They don't want to make anyone uncomfortable by stating out problems to the other person. The next one, that is consensus, means that the Japanese people tend to defer to authorities. They may agree to a supervisor or a manager even if their opinion is not the same as theirs. We now move on to tips for effective conflict management. The first one is to stay calm and be objective. It may be difficult to stay calm in a conflicted situation, but it is important for us to try. Getting emotional would only make the situation worse and not solve the issue faster. The next one is to listen to the other person. This means that understanding the other party's opinion would help us solve the problem and come up with a solution that is fair for everyone. Next is be willing to compromise. No one is getting everything they wanted in a conflicted situation, so we must be ready to sacrifice something that we want to achieve a better solution for everybody. Focus on the issue and not the person. This means that you cannot attack a person on their personal issues to achieve something that you want in an argument. It is not good and it will only make the situation worse. The final one is be willing to seek help. If you are unable to settle the problems on your own or find a better solution, be willing to seek a mediator or a third party to help you solve the problem together. The Japanese conflict management style can be effective in some situations, but it can also be counterproductive. For example, indirect communication can make it difficult to resolve conflicts that needs to be addressed directly. The focus on harmony can sometimes lead to people suppressing their true feelings or concerns. It is important to be aware of the Japanese conflict management style when working with Japanese people. By understanding their culture, values, you can better communicate with them and resolve conflicts in a way that is respectful and productive. That's all from us. Thank you.